Hello, scrappers. It is day number, what day is it? Seven of our 31 days of Q&As. And I have a question for you today, as always. And let me dig this up. I should have had it out. Sorry. I'm not as organized as I thought I was. Anyway, Jennifer with a Y, says, I have a lot of pattern papers. By a lot, I mean a lot. So now I have a problem. How do I mix and match them or even use them for scrapbooking or card making? Sometimes I would go for a pattern paper, but then I find myself losing time in searching for papers to match. I'd really love to learn how to use them properly instead of having them sitting in my scrap room. We actually got this same question in a couple different forms, so I thought it would be great to have just a real quick primer on matching pattern papers. Now, first of all, the easiest way to do this, of course, is by collection. So matching items, like if you get, I think there's American Crafts Margarita collection, those papers are already pre-matched, and that makes it really easy. But if you are like me, you like to mix and match with things from different manufacturers and different lines, and that's what I'm assuming you're talking about. So I have some ideas for you. Now, here is the layout I did. It's not a traditional layout for me because it does not include any journaling, and that, as you know, is strange for me. But really, I created this with the idea of showing a bunch of patterns mixed together so I could walk you through how I go about doing this. So when you are matching patterns, a simple thing to remember is that you want to match either the size of the pattern, the item of the pattern, like whether it's checks or text or dots or hearts, and or the color of the pattern. So for instance, you could mix 4 different or 5 different pattern papers that are all polka dots, and they will look cohesive because they all have the same pattern. Your eye can go to that dot, and the dot is the same pattern. Or you could mix several different, let's say 3 different patterns that all are the same size. They're all very small. So let's say you have one that's a small floral, one that's a small print of some sort, like hearts, and one that's a small polka dot. And because they're all the same size, they will blend well together. My favorite way to match patterns is through color. And what I will do is pick one color, one predominant color to start with. And I knew I wanted to do this on a yellow page. That's what I started with a yellow cardstock. I didn't even know what photo I was going to use or anything else. Then, because we've been working on using up our scraps, I went to my scrap bin and picked out a couple pieces of pattern paper that had yellow in them. And then I just started playing around with them. And the first 2 I picked were these 2 up at the top. You can see a houndstooth check and then this honeybee one. And when I had these already, I'm bringing in more colors. It's got a cream in there, it's got the yellow that we started with, and then it's also got the blue and a brown. So now I don't want to add any more colors than that. I want to stick with those colors, and now I sort through my pattern paper, and I'm going through my scraps, but you can do this with your full sheets as well. I am looking for patterns that have yellow, cream, blue, and that's what I stuck with, yellow, cream, or blue. They had to be predominantly yellow, cream, or blue for me to use them. And so if we go down here, you'll see this one's predominantly blue, this one's yellow, it's got a little bit of cream in there, and actually a little bit of blue. It looks like green, it actually looks like cream, but it is blue. This one is cream and yellow. This is washi tape, thank you Monica Bradford. That's predominantly blue with a little bit of white or cream. This one is 2 different shades of blue with some green. Now I'm pulling in another color. I didn't do that intentionally, but I liked how it looked. It actually matches with this one here that has some green in it as well. So that worked well. This one's cream and blue. This one's blues and a little bit of white or cream. Same with this one. And this one down here is yellow and white. So I stuck with the same color palette, and there's one piece, this one here, that pulls in all those colors, and so it looks cohesive. Then after I did that on this particular page, just to walk you through what I did, I punched some of them with border stamps, because I like that different look with the texture. You can see that, this one up here at the top. Then I chose my photo, and then I went to my silhouette and cut out the title. And I actually ended up with that title because I cut it and it was too small, and so I cut it again, and I kind of liked the repetition, the swim swim. So I ended up with that, and then I added a simple title that just says VA Beach, and kind of a subtitle down there at the bottom that says AUG 2011, and some other little word Betty stickers here in the middle, and that was it. So you can see that I didn't stick with all the same pattern. I didn't stick with all the same size, although many of these are similar size patterns. What I did stick with was a cohesive color palette, and so that makes combining them really easy. Just make sure you have one piece, like if I'm going to pull out my scraps here, if I start, I'm just pulling one randomly. If I start with this, then I'm going to look for pieces of pattern paper that have that green, the blue, the white, or the pink. So I might start with, I'm just looking here. So here's a scrap in here that's the green. So I'd hold that out. And then I'm looking for something that's blue. And see up at the top it says walk in the park. I might cut that out and add that to this page. I wouldn't use this bottom part here, the red or the flags, because it's just too much conflicting color. But those three, the walk in the park, that top strip, this with the big paisleys, and that green look really good together. Or I might pull out something, again, I'm doing this just spur of the moment here. You can see this in real time. Just playing with different things. And remember to look at the back. This is actually from the same pack, so I could pull that in, and that looks really good too. Remember to look at the back of your sheet too. Now here's one that I could add in too. Do you see that blue? It's a little bit darker of a shade, but I think it looks pretty nice, and it's got the dot repetition, so that pulls in too. What I would not do is pull in something like this, because it gets too busy. Even though you've got the repetitive circles, and you've got the green, and you got the pink and the blue, it just, to me, it looks too busy with those together. I could do it depending on the page, but for a beginning matcher, I wouldn't go for that. That's more of an advanced technique. So, so I'd stick with that simple color palette. And I think if you pulled out, let me show you another one that I might work with. If I pulled out, I'm trying to find one that looks a little different. Like this one here. This is an old scenic route, I think. Of course, it's got the back side that I could use. And then here's another dot that I could combine with it. And here's a green that I possibly could pull in there because it's got some green in this right here. So just start with one and then pull the colors that match with that one, and just mix and match. And maybe if you're starting at the beginning of matching your own pattern papers, you don't want to go with 17 different patterns like this. Pick 3 and start with one predominant color palette and work from there. Now, I also have a great resource that I'll link up in the show notes, listen to me in my podcast talk, below this video. This book, it's called A Designer's Eye for Scrapbooking with Pattern Paper, and I think you'll recognize this person right here, Allie Edwards. This came out quite some time ago. It was one of her first books, and I'm going to look at the date here to tell you when it came out. I don't even know if it's available anymore. 2006, but I bet you could get it used on Amazon. And I loved mine so much that I had the binding cut off and had the spiral put in because I wanted it to lie flat. And what she does is she gives you recipes for combining like 2 different stripes plus another check or checkerboard or something like that. But this is a great book, and it taught me a ton. So if you are looking for more suggestions on scrapbooking with pattern paper and mixing patterns, try this one out, and I'll link it right below this video. Now, this is our longest video to date. So I'm going to stop talking now and encourage you to head over to layoutaday.com and follow us for the next 23 days of your scrapbooking Q&As. Looking forward to hearing from you. Bye.